I actually cannot believe what I just witnessed. Rather, I didn't even want to witness this. As soon as it happened, as soon as it went down, I didn't want it to be. But we'll talk about those events in just a moment. If you're not already familiar, this is my Attack on Titan first impressions, recap, analysis, breakdown series, where I go over the episode, give my general first thoughts, first impressions. Then later on in the week, on Wednesday, we are going to release a more in-depth breakdown on this episode. This is more of a review, so if you're looking for something that's more in-depth, subscribe, ring the bell. On Wednesday, we got you covered. The events of Attack on Titan this week were simply incredible and heartbreaking and at the same time exciting all in one, because we got so many things in this episode. We got deception through double cross, we got a killing of one of our most beloved characters, Gabi, who now I think we know why people hate Gabi so much, but I have my opinions on that. We'll come out with a video later on in the week on why I think Gabi is completely justified in how she feels and most of her actions. But with that out of the way, let's just jump right into the video. Last week, I thought we were going to have this big, great, awesome fight between Eren and Reiner, and it seems that we were teased once again. I still think we're going to get this fight, but I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon. I think it will probably happen near the latter half of this season. Well, this fight, while it was very short, it was literally just one punch. Eren decides to end the fight because his excuse is they're out of strength. And what I think was going on here is I think Eren didn't have what it took to continue this fight. I think he could have taken on Reiner, but I didn't think he wanted to fight Reiner any longer. I still think he sees Reiner as his best friend that betrayed him. It's a little complicated for Eren Yeager at this point, the way he feels, but the thing is, the time is going to come when he's going to have to make that decision. And if he can't make that decision, then that decision is going to be made for him, and that may lead to much more disaster than he had originally planned. So the Survey Corps retreat. This makes Gabi want to chase after them because she's getting really angry. And so Falco chases after her in tow, and Gabi is set on killing Eren. Just like in the last episode, we saw that she is going to kill Eren Yeager. She said it repeatedly. This episode, she's continuing on with that trend, and it's not a very good trend. As we can see, she's killed 2 people in this episode. I assume this is the first 2 people she's ever killed in her life. It's a very sad thing for Gabi, in my opinion, because to me, Gabi is she's a little thick-headed, but she's a very good-willed person. She's just a kid. She's just a child, much like Falco is. They're child soldiers in this society. It's unfair to me the way that Gabi has been treated. To see her now go on this path of revenge, yeah, she has her reasons for it. We'll discuss in a next video. It's so sad, you know? It really is, because Gabi is such an innocent person, as we saw from every episode up until this point. But hey, it's always nice to see Levi berate people, especially when it comes to Eren Yeager, as he does just that. He tells Eren he has a very kickable face, which I think going into this season, yeah, he has a very kickable face indeed. He also makes a really interesting point that he never thought he'd see the same look he saw on the people from his childhood on Eren's face. So if you go back in time a little bit, this is a long time ago. I'm surprised I even remembered this. It's been so long since I've read this stuff. But Levi's backstory, there were people in this underground city of sorts, and he's referencing the same looks that those people in the underground city had. That same look of destitution and helplessness, hopelessness. That's the same look that Eren has, and I like that Levi says that look doesn't suit Eren, because I don't think it suits Eren as well. Eren, once again, much like Gabi, there's a lot of parallels between these 2 characters. You know, he's much more innocent of a person, I would say, much more good-willed person. Didn't we see a scene with Flock where Flock cheers on only having 6 casualties because it has less casualties than what Marley had? This is ridiculous to me. Flock, to me, is so far in the whole series, besides season 3, he's kind of been a dick. He's not mourning, but celebrating their, as he says, fallen heroes. To me, there shouldn't be any celebrating. There should be only mourning. And as we see Sasha get killed right in front of him, what? Is he going to say, still 7 casualties? He didn't see any of those people die right in front of him. So to him, there is no loss that he saw right in front of his eyes. And that makes, to me, Flock very youthful, very ignorant of the world. I like the contrast between Flock and John, though, because John wonders how long this will go on for, and it shows that that's different from Flock's perception of this war. Flock kind of sees this almost as like a game, fun thing to do that he's detached from. But we end this scene, a really nice, touching scene. John and Sasha are special to Connie. Connie tells them that it's all right as long as those three made it out alive, which we'll see what happens here in a moment, but it is a very touching scene. And I get that those three are really, really special to each other, more than they have been in the previous seasons, just from this scene. We go back to Falco and Gabi. Gabi starts describing Udo and Zofia's death. She starts describing the guards that were shot by Sasha. She then tells Falco, really just talking out loud, that Gabi's goal was to show people that Eldians, they weren't all bad people. And to Gabi that, yeah, this is an internment zone, but this to her is a home. And because of that, does that deserve to be trampled on? And then we see a beautiful sequence that contrasts really well with Gabi and shows to me how much further they develop Falco's character in this episode. Falco recalls Aaron's words. Aaron talks about how his mother was being eaten. Was that fair for him? And then Falco says that they were trampled on as well. Falco realizes that they're all the same people and that this is only an act of revenge. So Gabi retorts, "Did you see any of that happen?" Which I think is a very simplistic way of viewing this, and that probably will annoy some people, but you have to really look further into this with the next line that Gabi says. Gabi just says, it doesn't matter, they're devils anyways. They're trying to stop our freedom, right? So to Gabi, she doesn't know how to feel about all of this. Her best friends were killed, her home trampled on. So she's trying to find any way possible to pin this on somebody else and redirect that hurt, anger, and pain to this other side, to this side that has been brainwashed into them to be these devils, which is a very powerful thing. And I'm sure that's the people that were in power, I'm sure they wanted this to happen. I'm sure they wanted this exact scenario to go down because they can then turn around and fuel child soldiers just like Gabi and Falco. Falco is really smart though. Falco, I think, knows that Gabi is wrong on some level, just for how he's comparing and contrasting all of these things that Aaron said and all of these things that happen in their conversation. And that to me means a lot to Falco's character, and it still once again shows that Gabi probably doesn't know how to process a lot of what she's just went through. For her to go through all of that and make all of these decisions, it really just goes to show that I think Falco is the more level-headed one here. So after Gabi kills Lobov, forget his name. She says to Falco that she's prepared to die. As Gabi is preparing to go, she's basically saying his goodbyes to him. She calls him one of the good ones, and I think that meant a lot to Falco. So much so that he recalls the words that Reiner was telling him to save her from her dark fate. And because of that, Falco as well grabs onto the dead guy and they rappel up. And I think what Falco wanted to do was stop what was eventually going to happen here, and that is killing yet another person. And so, well, Gabi kills Sasha. One of my favorite characters in Attack on Titan is actually dead. I never thought for a solitary moment that one of the main three supporting cast would die. Connie, John, or Sasha. I never thought any of them ever would die. But it's Sasha of all people. And recently, people, have taken notice that I've been posting on my community tab a lot of Sasha related stuff because I've loved her design this season. I thought she looks amazing in this season. I thought, oh, we're going to have some really cool moments with Sasha after this battle. Sadly, we don't. She's going to go for a second shot, and she almost kills John, and Falco stops her. Saves Gabi's life, saves John's life because of that. And we see, as this is playing out, as Gabi and Falco are being ganged up on, Sasha's last words is literally meat. That's it. That's her last words. That is such a fitting last words for Sasha, who has food on the mind probably all of the time. So at least in death, Sasha went out in her own world. She was happy. I guess that's what you can say about this moment. So Flock captures them and says, hey, we can just toss him out right now. And John realizes that killing these two, it won't end anything. It'll probably just fuel the cycle of hatred even more. So John decides, no, don't do that, which is a good thing. And once again, it's like some of these soldiers, I don't think they realize how awful this war is. I just really don't. So that bearded guard that trapped Porco and Peak in a hole, it's actually named Yelena, which is a pretty nice name. And you may be thinking that's a very feminine name because, yeah, the soldier is a girl. And that was a totally fake beard. A really bad beard, by the way. She was actually on the first scout fleet sent to Paradise after Reiner came back. She is actually, as well, a devout follower of Zeke. So, you know right here what's about to happen. Some crazy shit. Oh, let's get right into it. So Gabi is brought to Levi and the others. It took me a moment to just realize what was happening. I was in total shock. Zeke was captured by the Survey Corps on purpose because all of this was Zeke's plan all along. This wasn't Armin's plan. My theory was that it was Armin who planned all of this, but instead it was Zeke. And I don't even know what to say about any of this. Why is Zeke with Eren? Why is Zeke siding with the Survey Corps? What is his reasoning for doing this? Isn't he the person that got his parents practically killed? Isn't he one of the people that helped start this cycle? Why would he change his mind now? I can't even begin to think of a reason at this moment. I just can't. It's shocking. It's what can you say? And on top of that, you still have this hatred between Levi and Zeke. They still don't like each other, which ain't good. I would say leads to a recipe for disaster, but we'll have to see how all of this plays out. Hanj tells Eren that every time he gets caught, it costs people's lives. Every single time. And if we go back and we look over the history of Attack on Titan, every time Eren's been caught like a princess, yeah, that is very true 9 out of 10 times. So after this, they are informed of Sasha's death. As everyone is sitting there in shock, it pans over to Eren, and Eren starts to laugh. A funny laugh. It's the same kind of laugh that he had in Season 2, Episode 12, where him and Mikasa were out in the middle of the field being surrounded by Dina Fritz's Titan form? Version. What is this? What is this, a robot? An android? Get out of here, SeaTactics. And the last thing we see is Eren recalling the memories of how she said when they retake all this land that Sasha would like to have more cattle so they can have more meat. And you see Eren at the very end just losing it. This episode made me so sad because Sasha throughout the whole series, as for many people, has been one of my favorite characters. And if Sasha had to go out at this moment, she went out perfectly. This is one of the better deaths of a beloved secondary character I've ever seen in an anime. A lot coming to mind. It's so fitting. Everything they did after the death and before and during. She went out perfectly. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people that are going to hate Gabi because of this. They're going to jump on the Gabi hate bandwagon thing. I think there is a reason to hate Gabi for this decision. But at the same time, I also don't think that this is a reason to hate the Gabi character or to think that she's poorly written or to think that she doesn't have justification for doing these things. Gabi has all of the justification in the world for feeling the way she does. You can't blame her for going through with the things that she did. Yes, she killed 2 people. At the end of the day, that is a bad thing. She should not have done that. But you look at where she's coming from. You look at her history and you look what she's trying to be. She's a child soldier. She feels that her country, her land, her people, her friends were killed. Everyone she looks up to is being attacked. She doesn't know these other people. She doesn't know what Falco knows. Falco tried to tell her, but Gabi couldn't possibly understand through all of what she's going through and dealing with. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think Gabi should be forgiven when it comes down to it. We're going to have to see what happens in the next episode with that. But put down in the comments below, do you guys think Gabi is unforgivable or should she be forgiven? I would love to hear your hot takes. Put down in the comments below. Please do not spoil stuff in the comments. I would greatly appreciate that. Appreciate that. If you haven't already, be sure to like this video, subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the video coming out later in the week. I have a Patreon, I got merch. Check all of the links in the description, especially for my other AOT videos. I'll see you guys later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.